We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it away, Colty.
Yeah, spend my money how I want. When I see your face, I need it gone. I'm a hungry wolf, don't need a pack. And I realest ever handle that.
Welcome to the program. This is Recycled Youth. I'm Dave.
And I'm Colt. Welcome to the show.
Guys, thank you for tuning into our channel. And please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the like button and the little notification button. So you'll be
down here.
Somewhere down there, notified when we upload a new video. So, what do you want to talk about, buddy? What's going on?
Not much, but it was an interesting week. As you know, I do pardons and waivers and what have you. It's a good business.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good business. I enjoy it. It's nice to help people. They get quite excited actually when they get a pardon or a waiver. They, especially with the pardon, they get really excited. And it's actually, free advice here. It's a good little business that you can actually do from home. If you learn how to do a pardon or waiver, it's something you can do from home. It's an easy six-figure business. If you put effort into it, not even a full, like a half-decent effort, you could easily make six figures. Like one of the top girls in the business, she works for a competitor. She makes about $400,000 a year.
Wow.
It's a pretty good life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a good franchise opportunity for somebody willing to take that chance and build. It's got a good market. 4 million people in Canada have minor criminal records. A large percentage of them don't even know they qualify for a pardon or can get a pardon.
What do you need a pardon for? For what type of crime, let's say?
For everything. Most companies nowadays, stealing, DUI.
Alcohol, drugs.
All of it. And companies nowadays, they don't care what your record is. They just won't hire you. Right?
Oh, I see. So this isn't just to get out of Canada, go into the States.
No, that's a waiver. That's a whole other ball of wax. But a lot of people, I had a call not too long ago from a guy who couldn't get a job at Walmart. He's crying his eyes out.
Because he had a conviction or whatever?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough.
Interesting.
It's a good business. It's something that, I'm on to bigger and better things. I'm definitely, I'm always trying to evolve.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a youth. It's something that, I wouldn't say forced into me, but it's something that it just took its own kind of life and shape of its own, because I didn't finish high school, and so you have to learn to survive. You have to learn to survive, and a lot of people would find it hard to believe that I haven't made a paycheck, an actual hourly wage paycheck, since I was 19.
Always just doing your own thing, working?
Yeah, I'm always working for somebody else, but never. If the opportunity ever presents itself to me, okay, so I'm going to come here, we're going to pay you this, I would tell people quite confidently, I'd rather you pay me a commission. And I'll do it. I don't need a salary. I'm pretty self-sufficient. And I'm good at retaining and learning information. So I get very good at things because I'm able to talk a lot about what I'm doing. Because I get that information, it stays in my cabeza.
Yeah.
And I'm able to regurgitate that information at will while I'm talking to people.
You're very good at it. You're very good at what you do. You're great at sales, man. You're probably, and I'm 50 years old, and I've been in sales my whole life, retail mostly, stuff like that. I met a lot of wealthy, successful people in sales as well, but I've never met anyone who is as good at sales as you are. You are amazing at it, buddy, I have to say.
I think my amazement comes in I'm very quick.
Yeah.
You won't find it very often. As a matter of fact, I don't remember the last time where somebody on the phone was able to trip me up, where I paused and had to think about something. When I'm on the phone or when I'm selling and somebody's even coming in front of me or I'm sitting with somebody, my brain, almost like a instinct, like a survival instinct, kicks into this gear of very rapid fire responses, and I'm able to produce the information people are looking for very quickly. And I think that's where being the difference between me and some other salespeople is the fact that I don't pause, I don't stop, I don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And it always seems that I have the answer, even when I don't.
Yeah.
I know tricks to dodge and circle, and you don't even realize it happened.
Mm-hmm. You also have a voice. Your voice is, it's a funny voice. I'm not, don't mean it to sound offensive, but you got a wicked voice, man.
Yeah, it's different.
It kind of makes people want to listen to you. You sound like you know what you're talking about, even if you may not know what you're talking about. You sound like you know what you're talking about. You're convincing.
I'm for sure. I've got, I definitely have. If you were to say, what is your superpower in your life? And I think everybody has a superpower that they're just extraordinarily good at versus anything else. They've got to pick one thing. Mine would be the power of persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
I can persuade people to do things that they would not necessarily think that they could even possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
I've got things in my life that if you were to see these things or read about these things, you would say, how's that possible? That would never happen to me. But it can.
Yeah.
It definitely can. And you can use that for good, you can use it for bad. It is really one of those superpowers that if you use it for good, it can be really good.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of great things. And if you use it for bad, it can be really bad.
Yeah.
And that fine line is that line that's there. It's sometimes very muddled. The line's very muddled.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned in my life that even what you do bad with it, good will always prevail because you can make so much more because of the longevity. Anything you do bad is going to be short term. So it's going to be like, as they say, smash and grab or whatever. It's like hitting the jewelry store and hitting the counter and just grabbing as much as you can. Eventually you're going to spend that.
So for those of you who are listening to this that don't know any history,
yeah,
should we give them a little background?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. It's something that it's been through it, been there, done that. And, it's nothing I'm embarrassed about. I paid the price.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing story, buddy.
It goes a long way.
Your life story is an amazing story, I have to say.
It goes a long way. My life story is not just what people read in the newspaper or Google. It goes a long way. My life story, actually, go back and say what it is, it's just a young kid trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. It's a young kid trying to survive,
yeah.
Dealing and using the only thing he knew how to do. Use. And it's not even something I knew. It was just something I picked up quickly, that this is my survival technique. Some people's survival techniques are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I survive, And I learned how to sell, actually, panhandling. Believe it or not, that's how I learned how to sell.
So you left home.
Yep.
How old?
14, 15, somewhere in between there.
14, 15, you left Campbellford?
No, Port Perry.
Port Perry, sorry. Yeah. Went to downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
Lived on the street.
Lived on the street, yeah. Had my clothes robbed the second day.
Where?
Just outside of Sherburne Park off Gerard and Yonge.
Literally on the street at 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, to stay warm for the first few nights, I actually slept against the botanical gardens because the wall was warm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was going through your mind? Like, what am I going to do?
I was terrified. Actually, the first few nights I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, how kids are afraid of the dark and then Boogie Monster under the bed?
Yeah.
That, it was times 50.
Yeah.
Because everybody is scary. You're a kid. It doesn't matter how tough you think you are, all that, you're a kid.
What year is this, roughly? 90?
Yeah, 91, 1990, no, 1989.
And, different time for sure.
88.
But certainly not a safe time to be downtown Toronto.
No, I would say probably a worse time to be downtown Toronto than
today.
Than
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, police are a lot more aware.
Yeah.
Right?
So what'd you do? You how long did you spend what'd you eat? How'd you get food? What'd you do?
Panhandled.
Panhandled.
Yeah, right in front of the greenhouse. Is it the greenhouse? Yeah, it's right there. It's gone now because of the rent, but there was a thing called La Maison de Croissant, which was on the corner of Gerard and Young. Beside that was the Big Slice, which is famous. It was in movies, seen all the time. It's gone now too. And beside that was, I think it was Greenhouse or Greenworks. You used to be able to go down there and get like soups and stuff and play ping pong for like 25 cents. The food was like for street kids.
Yeah.
And then there was a bus. There used to be the largest bookstore in the world, which was down off of, I think it was Bond or off of Bond, where the atrium on the bay was. And there used to be a bus, not a bus, like a motorhome. And they would come down every day and you would go and they would give sandwiches and hot coffee and stuff. So for a while, until I found my way, I was like totally living off the street from people helping. Yeah, like totally living off the street from people helping. Like just food. Living the total street kid life, you know? Totally street kid.
Wow.
You know? But I learned fast.
So, okay, so then what? You spent a little bit of time, you learned something at Union Station.
Not Union, at Atrium on the Bay. So for a while I was panhandling, looking like a scrub. You know, and just like a street kid in a sleeping bag like you would see and asking for money. But if I looked at myself now, if I was now looking at myself back then, I would think, wow, look at that kid, he's strung out on drugs. I wasn't. But I was, disheveled, not very clean, just nothing. And as a youth, as a kid, I picked up things pretty quick, realizing that these people were assuming that they're going to give me money. The same thing I assume today, which I should do because I know. I know better in some cases that it's not always the case, that I'm going to take that money, go buy alcohol and drugs.
Right.
Right, which definitely wasn't the case. So I saved up as much as I could, which didn't take very long. And I went to an Army surplus store just past the Howard Johnson Hotel. And I bought a backpack, some slacks, and I looked like I played the part of the kid. And I went to
like a clean kid.
Like a clean kid. And I went to Atrium on the Bay, where the Olive Garden at the time was there, and so was the Red Lobster, the Greyhound bus side. And I would go and ask for tokens, because I knew people did not want to give up tokens, because you have to line up early in the morning to get tokens, right? Because there's usually a big line. So people would give me money. And I went from scrounging, I'm almost instantly, I went from scrounging money on the streets in a backpack, in a sleeping bag, begging for money, all disheveled, to making $300 to $400 to $500 in 2-3 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, the security used to get to know me so well and say, "Come on, Colt, move along." They knew what I was there already doing, but I was done.
So you knew they wouldn't give up the tokens.
And they give up money.
So what would you say to them? Like, "Hi, I'm lost. I need to get back home."
I'm just lost. I lost my my tokens. I can't get on the bus. I have no money.
Yeah.
People would give it to me.
And just give you like $10, $20.
$10, $5, $20, $2, you know. And within just a few hours, listen, I would usually make enough to pay my rent and any kind of extracurricular activity within a week.
Wow.
Yeah, I was making pretty good money. And then I was a kid, so it wasn't a business for me.
Yeah.
I'd make enough, go to the arcade. Life was good for a kid.
But where were you sleeping? Still sleeping on the street?
No, 91 Pembroke. I was able to get an apartment. So I left the Covenant House, because when I was on the street, it took me 2 weeks to get a bed at the Covenant House on Gerard and Young. And I was there for maybe 2-3 weeks, 3 weeks max. And then I was figured out the whole panhandling game, and then I got an apartment on 91 Pembroke. And life was good for me as a kid, 15, 16 years old, no school, had a pretty good brain on my shoulder. I was never stupid. I didn't leave school because I was stupid. I left school because I was bored.
Yeah.
I left school because my parents said I couldn't live without them.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prove a point, And
wow.
But there was a time in my life I just played arcade games like any other kid today would want to do. But I was doing it at an arcade downtown, eating at Harvey's and McDonald's and, living that kind of life. So it was interesting. I can't say that it was terrible, because I didn't have, it was different, right? You're a kid. So I had to do everything with no parenting, right?
Wow.
Because I was a kid. It was interesting. Definitely interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
Then So you did that for a while. Then you somehow got to AT&T.
Yeah, I met a girl, and she was a police officer. You know, and she took me in, right? She definitely had mommy issues. She was, you know, like she was much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And she took me in as a kid, and her parents said, "You cannot stay here if you don't have a job." Right? And I really wasn't, I was a kid. I wasn't looking for marriage. I just wanted to, you know, have fun with a girl.
Right.
So I went and got a job, and I got a job at AT&T, which is another crazy story.
Which technically doesn't exist anymore.
Not in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in Canada. But that's a crazy story, too, because when we got there, I didn't have any money. So I had a purple suit and Van shoes. So they nicknamed me Miami Vice. Because that's all I could buy at Tip Top. I had $100, and they said, for $100, we have a purple suit. And it was way too big, too.
Holy shit.
So everybody.
So this is for your interview?
Yeah.
You want to look sharp?
I went and bought a suit, but I had
That's
$100.
funny.
And the guy at Tip Top at Dufferin Shopping Mall, Tip Top Tailor,
Yeah.
said, for $100, we have that purple suit over there. And I needed a suit, so I bought a suit, and I wore my Van running shoes because I couldn't buy shoes.
Yeah.
And I remember they nicknamed me Miami Vices.
That's funny.
Lee, the manager, was like, this kid. He told me a story about what he thought about me after. He's like,
Yeah.
man, this kid. So they ran a test with us that night, and this is when I figured I'm good at this, really good at sales. So they ran a test, and they said, we're going to put you on this cable program. And just for 2 hours, see how many sales you can do. We're expecting at least 3. You know, we need at least 3 sales, and you're probably going to have a job. So one thing leads to another. We're on the phone. We're going. 2 hours later, I got 44 sales.
Holy shit.
44. I don't think one person said no. The closest to me was this girl. And what was her name? I can't remember her name, but she was a good salesperson. But she had 7.
Wow.
And the crazy part about it is the guy at Rogers, I wasn't even hired for Rogers. This is just the test. The program manager for Rogers happened to be there that night. And I didn't know any better. I was only there still for an interview.
Yeah.
And he came up to me, gave me his business card, and said, don't come back here tomorrow. You come to Don Mills, right? We're going to take you somewhere else. You're not going to come back here. So I'm like, cool. I didn't know any better. Took the business card, went home. So I was supposed to be there the next day at 8, 9 in the morning for my beginning shift. They're like, oh, you did great. You know, welcome to the team. You know, everybody's real excited. Like, this kid is off the chains, man.
Yeah.
This kid's unstoppable. You know, and they were asking me if I had sales experience. I'm like, nothing. Never. I've never done this before. I don't show up in the morning.
Or you didn't go?
No, because I was told to go to the other office.
Oh, okay. You went to the other place.
I didn't go. I was not supposed
Oh,
to.
you didn't go there either?
Because I wasn't supposed to go to the afternoon.
Oh.
Everton calls me at like 11 o'clock. And Everton, I think you met Everton.
Yeah.
He calls me, he says, where are you? I said, I'm at home. He's like, oh, you didn't want the job? We were really interested in you. I'm like, yeah, I got the job. I'm going to Don Mills. He's like, excuse me? Yeah, I'm going to Don Mills, the Rogers head office. He's like, yeah, don't go anywhere. Just stay there. I'm going to call you back. Hangs up the phone, calls me back. He's like, come in here. You're not going to Don Mills. So I didn't know what was going on. I came in that afternoon. Everton told me the story that Rogers tried to scoop me from my first interview with PR Response, it was called.
Right.
And Rogers tried to scoop me to go work over there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Greg knew about it too. Greg's like, Greg's the one that said, this kid's going to be, you know, when this kid comes up. And I didn't know about any of this till later on, right? They were, like, a lot of people in the office were talking about me. This kid will be the youngest guy on the business program.
Yeah.
It won't take long, and they're going to move him to the business program. It gets to your head, though. You know, I was doing crazy shit there.
So you were selling what? Long distance?
At first, I was selling Cantel. They put me on all the hardest programs to try and destroy me.
Right.
Not destroy me, to see what I could do.
Yeah.
So they put me on Cantel, where you had to ask for a credit card. And in the early 90s.
What's Cantel? Phone? Cell phones?
Yeah. Remember the old Razor flip phones?
Yes.
They were just before Rogers. It was Cantel.
Right.
That's Rogers today. It used to be called Cantel in the early days.
Right. So what were you selling? Long distance packages?
No, the phone.
Oh, the phone.
I had to get them to sign a 2-year deal.
You were selling a phone over the phone?
Yeah. And I had to
Holy
get them to
shit.
sign it. And not only did they phone, they had to give you your credit card to take $50, and they had to sign a 2-year deal. Very low successful program, very low success.
Yeah.
Right? The top person before me, I think, was getting like 1 or 2 a month. Very low.
Yeah.
But they were paying big money for these deals
Yeah.
to PR Response, because you're signed on for 2 years, and cell phones back in the day,
Very
you sign
expensive.
a 2-year contract, you're
Yeah.
paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the leads were very very rich to them. So even their top sales were only getting a couple, still worth a lot to them.
Wow.
I was doing 7 a week. Yeah. And I mean, Lee was like, Lee kept telling me, I'm going to get you over here.
Now, Lee is,
The manager of AT&T,
okay.
the AT&T program. He's like, I'm going to get you over here. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't even care. I said, as long as I'm making money and I can party, because I was a partying kid. You know?
What were you making? Like salary, paycheck, hourly?
I made a very small hourly wage.
Yeah, and
Most of it was
commission.
commission. Yeah.
So really that was your first sales job.
Yeah.
And you got the taste of commish.
The commish, yeah. Big commish. My
Yeah.
commish was always triple my check.
Yeah.
Well, you've known some of the people I've known that have talked to you
Yeah.
about my past.
Yeah.
They used to double team to beat me.
Yeah.
Like the top salespeople would go together
Yeah.
to beat me, this young kid.
Yeah.
And people hated me. People would blame me, oh, you're ruining the program. Because I was a young kid. They were all old farts. And I was just this young kid in my
What were you
20s.
doing? How were you doing it? What was your shtick? What?
You know, basically, I would just talk. And, you know, one of my tricks is I learned you could split their phone lines, right? So I would split up the phone lines. And then I would come up with some pretty inventive stuff like, and I got fired for this actually, right? So I would tell them on the business program, oh, if you sign up today, I'll give you a free 800 number. And they'd be like, oh, that's great. Yeah, absolutely free.
800 numbers were expensive.
Yeah,
Every
but they
month they were
were
like
free.
$30 a month.
But they were free. The use was expensive.
Yeah, okay. Yes,
So
that's right.
I would tell them, I'll give you a free 800 number. You know, and if the vanity number is available, imagine your business having a vanity number. It's great. But I need you to sign up for the long distance program. And then I'd call Ozzy, who you know,
Yeah.
and I'd say, here's a lead for you. So they were getting double the business. They fired me,
Wow.
right? Not the owners. Like the owners were like, you can't fire. This kid's untouchable.
The managers.
The managers would I've been fired so many times. And the manager would call me back. And it would be like, I felt bad for the managers because the bigger directors would call me back and they say, listen, you guys got to work this out. And
Yeah.
the managers hated me because, you know, any manager would hate that.
Yeah.
Because then, am I really a manager?
Yeah, exactly. You're a puppet.
Yeah, am I like a manager? And they'd put me in a room. And some of the managers said, I'm never talking to this kid again. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. But it was some of the things in AT&T, I remember his name was Sandip. I had a different name for him, which we won't use because
I know what it is.
yeah. And he fired me. And I didn't even care. I said, okay, I'm just going to go. I went to Taboo's. Taboo's had the best bar. Taboo's on Yonge and Eglinton. And about 4 days later, Everton calls me because he was the big show there. And he's like, can we have a chat with you? I'm like, no, I'm fired. I'm done. I'm done working for you guys. You know, I'm finished. And he's like, no, AT&T is here. The real AT&T is here. And they were wondering why you were let go, and they've been listening to the tapes, and they actually want to meet with you because you did nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You actually generated more business for them. And when they went back and checked my records, I had an extremely high retention rate, which means people were signing up with me and not canceling.
Mm-hmm.
So AT&T came in, sat down. Sandip was upset. Like he was so upset he kicked his chair. The thing, it was like one of these kind of wall, like drywall, went through. So angry. And then they, you know, I actually ended up getting a job offer from AT&T at 21 years old, over 6 figures, you know, big job for a 21-year-old. Go to Philadelphia, run an entire sales. I would be a district manager for a sales team in Philadelphia for AT&T, not a telemarketing, the real AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned it down. I chickened out.
You didn't want to go?
I didn't know anybody. I was a kid. I was making good enough money. Well, I was making very good money. I was partying.
Mm-hmm.
I thought life was great. This can't get any better, you know? And I didn't take it, you know? But that ended up me in Bangkok.
Yeah.
that me not taking that job sent me on a whole different life direction.
Okay, let's talk about that. So you did the AT&T stint. How long were you there?
Only about 3 or 4 years.
You made some good friends,
Yeah, I made good friends, yeah.
right? And partied, had fun, made money. It was good for a 21-year-old kid.
Partied hard.
You did good.
Yeah, no education.
No education. Then
Street
what happened?
kid.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. For a kid that was living on the street, not long
Yeah.
before that, you were on
Not
the street.
long. Yeah, not long before that, living on the street.
So what happened?
My boss, actually, Lee, said, "Do you want to make extra income?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." You know, he's like, "I'll send you to this place, but you have to promise me you won't quit here." I said, "Yeah, I love it here. You know, girls, drinking. The life was awesome at AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that, actually. If I was to say I miss anything, I miss that corporate world because I'm a clown. I love being in crowds of people. I miss that.
Yeah.
If I was to say, what did you miss? I miss that, the social, because I'm a very social beast. You know, I like to mingle and stuff. So he says, I said, sure, I'll check it out. And I'd never seen a limo in my life. In my life. I seen it on TV. Like, that's the stuff at the time I'm thinking, that Michael Jordan takes limos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like rich movie stars and people of importance take limos. So when they came and got us that night, we all had to meet at 2300 Eglinton. I get there. I come out of the subway, and I remember talking to Ozzy, actually. Ozzy and Dwayne. And I say, oh, look at the foofy limo. I wonder who's in there. And I'm sitting there, and they're waving. I don't know they're waving at me and Dwayne and them. They're like, come on over. And I'm looking around. I'm like, who the hell are they calling? And they, yeah, come on. I get in the limo, dude. I'm like freaking out. I am freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to impress a kid that has no education and is good at sales but has no this is real money. Like, okay, so you made some money. You'd be able to buy some drugs and party and the girls and the bars, and that's okay. But, like, check this out. I got in that car, and I'd never been in a limo before.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't invited to weddings and stuff. The whole family thing wasn't my thing, right? I was super, super sold on this limo.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could do this for the rest of my life. I didn't even know what I was about to do.
Yeah.
I just like, this limo's great. It's got mirrors on the ceiling. It's like got drink glasses. There's nothing to drink, but there's glasses in here.
Yeah.
And we ended up at 1100 Finch. And that's where I met my first boss. And we just started qualifying, selling private placements.
Oh, you did it there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And I started selling private placements. At first I was qualifying. And I was selling these things, but there was a guy there that was a sales guy, and I wasn't supposed to sell. I'm like, why am I going to do this and give it to somebody else? But anyways, that's what I did.
Qualifying is you're just calling people and
Ask them if they're interested in investing.
that's it.
That's it. Just ask them.
No sales. No. If they say, yeah,
no.
sure, sign me up. No,
They
can't do it.
I tried a few times. They'd smack me in the hand, say, you can't do that. Give
Yeah.
it to the sales guy.
Right. Okay. So you did that for a while.
Yep. And I was making good money because I got a cut of whatever the sales guy did, right? So I was pretty happy. I was making my money at AT&T. I had this little night gig. Then this guy comes and says, and I remember all the names. I'm just not going to name drop, but I
Fair
remember
enough.
the guy comes and says, do you want to go to Amsterdam? And I said, you can smoke weed there, right? He's like, yeah, I think you can. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to go to Amsterdam. What do I have to do? And I'm just a kid, right? So everything to me is like James Bond stuff, because everybody whispered. Everything was always a secret. And don't talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shelter yourself, keep yourself guarded, which was the anti-me,
Right.
because that's not who I am. I'm like, I like to be loud and, you know, flamboyant, and, but not flamboyant in the way of, you know what I mean? I like just be in the crowd.
Yeah.
So I go and work at 1000 Finch, which is crazy because the whole thing's completely illegal, and we're right above the courthouse. I mean, we're literally right above the courthouse. At the time, I did not know it was illegal.
Yeah.
Right? I was just doing a job. So here I got to sell. So me and this other guy, I got to sell, and I was good. I was too good.
What were you selling? Can you say?
Yeah, dental stuff. Like it's called Chlorzoin. I don't know how I remember all this, but it was Chlorzoin. It was like a sealant you would put on your teeth, and it would protect you from cavities.
Okay.
Right? And at the
Legit
time-
or is it fake?
Probably fake. I don't
Yeah.
know. At the time, it was like, hey, you don't want to brush your teeth anymore? Just put this stuff on.
Yeah.
But I was too good. What I mean by that is I got bailed on Amsterdam because now I was the guy everybody could learn off here in Toronto. We're not going to send you to Amsterdam. You're going to the guy that's going to feed Amsterdam. We're going to bring people. They're going to see how good you sell, how much money you're making, and then we'll send those guys to Amsterdam. And I'm like, what the hell is that shit?
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to the weed smoking capital of the world? I got to stay here? So I ended up quitting. And I told the guy who got me there, I said, you promised me Amsterdam, man. You total letdown. And he's like, I got another opportunity. You want to go to Bangkok? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'd love to go to Bangkok. So this time I had to go downtown to the Front Street Bar, right? And all the broker, the rounder guys, they all went down there because there was a lot of rounder houses down there. Penny stock rooms like E.A. Manning and Price Waterhouse Cooper, all these like penny stock. Big new stuff in Canada. They all got busted eventually. So I went and met the guy, and he's like, yeah, you guys are candidates. And I met with 3 people, Steve, Scotty, and myself. So we went, met. Guy was betting on horses. Yeah, you guys are good. Somebody's going to call you. Okay.
So what'd you do, a pitch? Did you pitch for him?
No. He just said, you want to go to Bangkok? You know, what experience do you have? Okay, somebody's going to call you. I'm like, okay, who's going to call me? Don't worry. They'll call. And they'll have your flight ticket arrangements made.
Shit.
So about a week went by, and a guy named Andrew called. And I don't mind saying his name because I don't even know who the hell he was.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, your tickets for this, which was June 22nd. I left on June 21st, 1998. And I actually almost quit. I almost bailed because I watched a Discovery Channel show about how you go there and they chop your hands off and they want to steal your kidneys and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, screw that. Told the 2 guys I was going with, I'm not going. And I go back to AT&T, crazy, and they begged me, come on, 30 days, try it out, 30 days.
So this was a 30-day, you get your flight paid, hotel paid.
Return flight, all that.
You got to work when you get there.
Yeah.
If you're not cut out for this, you're out.
Yeah. But
Okay.
at least the pitch was, get 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days in exotic land, try it out.
Yeah.
You know? So I was going to bail. 2 guys I was with begged me, come on, just 30 days. Just try it. You know, we need you there. So I said, okay. And I went. And when we got there, I thought we were getting our kidneys stolen because the guy, I didn't know how the rules were. So the bus, when you buy the taxi, they're supposed to take the tollway. It's part of your fee.
Mm-hmm.
But if they know you don't know, they're going to cut the slums and keep the 500 baht thing for themselves and go under the tollway.
Yeah.
Well, as we were driving through the slums, I had very little sleep. And I'm seeing this guy driving through the slums saying, oh my God, we are going to get hacked up here.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling at the guy in English. He doesn't understand a lick. And I'm like, turn the car around. I'm going to punch you in the head. You know, I'm like, and I'm asking Steve, is there something we could stab him with? Like, I was really freaking out. So anyways, I'm freaked out the whole time. An hour and a half, I'm yelling, pretty much freaking out, saying, I'm going to jump out of the cab. Steve's holding me, saying, calm down. Scott's like, you got to calm down. We get to Soy 11 and beautiful hotel. I'm like, oh, man, I'm better now. I'm going to go to sleep, and this guy pulls up, come with us. I'm like, holy crap, man. We end up in an office. Throws us some money, says, here's where you're going to work tomorrow. Right? And that's when it started. Bangkok started right there.
Wow.
Yep. And I actually failed at it. I wasn't good at all. You know?
So for 30 days, you made no sales?
It wasn't 30 days. For about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and you might understand this, I made no sales. I couldn't even get a stick on the board, and people were getting sticks, which is just wood. They don't count. I wasn't even getting the non-counters. And I'm like, whatever. And this guy came in, and he says, yeah, Friday will be your last day. It's not for you. I'm like, who are you? I don't see your number on the board. I didn't know he was one of the bosses. That's not what got me fired, though. So the manager brings me into the office and he says to me that Friday will be my last day. Enjoy the holiday. You know, we've got another week and a half, 2 weeks. Enjoy it. Hotel's paid and everything. I didn't know if I was going to stay because I didn't have a lot of money. I only had the little draw they gave me at the beginning, you know? And I remember coming in on the Thursday, and I actually remember the client's name. Obviously, I'm not going to say it, but he tells me I'll buy 1,000 shares. And I was fired, so I didn't even care. I said, okay, 1,000 shares, let me put you through. And they plugged their phone into you, and they're like, okay, so I'm the certification, whatever, verification department. Yeah, agreed to buy 1,000 shares. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Later that afternoon, the fax comes through with the copy of the transfer that he paid. And my manager brings me in. He's like, I think you saved your job. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even think anything. He's like, you made money. I'm like, how much money did I make? He's like, dude, you made $300. I said, I made what? So you made $300. I made $300 from that one guy? Yeah. There was only like 2 weeks left. I was the top salesman of the whole entire organization of that company.
Yeah.
Just crushed it.
Yeah.
So with only 2 weeks left, had nothing. And within that 2 weeks, I'd already made $18,000. Because now I believed. The problem was I didn't believe.
Yeah.
It was just, okay, I can do this. And then I was like, I can't do this because I didn't believe.
Yeah.
AT&T came through very naturally. So it was like, yeah, I know I can save you long distance. I believed. Can't tell. I'll give you a cell phone. I believed.
Right.
This was like, I didn't believe it. So I had no belief. So I was just talking to talk. I didn't believe it. And then that was it, man. It was like on fire. I don't think anybody can say at any given time with any company I work for that anybody had taken me out in any month ever. Ever. In a lot of cases, it wasn't even close. You know, people were opening 5, 6 accounts a month, and that was good. They were happy. I was doing 15 to 25, you know. I remember there was 11 days left before Christmas, and they said, if I get 15 sales between now and the holiday time, we'll pay for your business class ticket home. And I'd seen business. I'd seen what business looked like.
And that's an 18-hour flight.
Yeah, I'd seen business. I'm like, oh. So really there's only 10 days because you can't work Saturday and Sunday. So there's only 10 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
And I did the 15 sales in those 10 days. I actually did it in 7 days. And I had pocket sales for the new year too. Like, it was crazy. I was just very good at it.
So you're pulling in what kind of money? Like
as an opener, $20,000 a month. As a loader, when they moved me upstairs, everything. There was days I made $200,000 in a day.
Your end?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. There was days, and for a kid that had no education, for a kid that came from nowhere,
yeah,
to give a young kid that kind of money, I wouldn't take it back because the experience was bananas. It was like living in a rap video every day.
You're how old at this point? Like 28?
24.
24.
23, 24.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And you've got literally probably, what, $1 million?
Oh, it's one time I had a safe with almost $9 million. Life was crazy too. Girls and parties and just, you ever eat chocolate mousse and eat too much and it's just so rich and you're like, oh my God, I'm so full. That's what life was like chocolate mousse every day until you were just so full.
Yeah.
It was all fake. Like, it's completely fake. When you look back at it now, it was like totally fake. The girls, everything was fake. But it was probably one of the best fake experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Because you got to experience a life that most people will never in their whole life experience. You know, like the richest of the rich will experience that. But I lived like the richest of the rich because I spent everything. You know, I worked hard and I played hard. Like, I mean, I was a spender. I did everything. But it was interesting. And then it all led to what happened in New York, right?
Yeah.
8/13. 8/13, it all came down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was an experience, you know. It was something that had to happen. And not to make myself seem like a monster, but if that didn't happen, I was a monster. I was unstoppable. It never would have stopped. There was nothing the market could do to stop somebody like me.
I think because there's much more to the story, and you got recruited by other big companies in Bangkok that were making hundreds of millions of dollars.
For sure, hundreds of millions. There's multi-billions of stuff going on.
Right? And essentially everyone used you because you were the best.
Oh, absolutely. I was manipulated.
Yeah.
You think you're your own man.
Yeah.
And you think you're good and smart. But in reality, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
To be honest, all of my growing up happened in prison.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 years that I spent in prison, I grew up more than 30 years prior.
How old are you when you were in prison?
I went to prison at 38.
38.
Yeah. I got it at 41.
Yeah.
So the 3 years in that prison had aged me and matured me more than my previous 38 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the way up until the time I got arrested, I was very immature. You know, provider, very good provider.
Mm-hmm.
I was, things were provided for my family and my friends. I was good at that. But maturity, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but my maturity was so immature that it didn't prevent me from doing the wrong.
Yeah.
So I would never say that I didn't know any better. Of course I knew better.
Yeah.
I wasn't mature enough, to understand. And compassion. I didn't have the compassion for other people.
Mm-hmm.
The entire world had shit on me essentially, and I was just shitting back.
Yeah.
So I didn't care. Because it was just one of those things where it just was. Like I had weird philosophies that I still kind of think of today, but in a different context. Like, you have people in the world, and there's different types of people. You have people that'll never survive ever in their whole life. They go work 9 to 5, and that's good. That's good for them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Everybody needs that. Not everybody can be a CEO.
Mm-hmm.
A CEO can't be a CEO if he doesn't have 100 employees to make him a CEO.
Yeah.
So I had these thoughts in my mind when I was a kid, because I was a kid all the way up into my 30s, is that I was a lion and I refused to be a gazelle. Everybody else was a gazelle. And I had this very basic view of life on like a circle of life. You either fed or you were fed on. And I was sick of being fed on my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I felt like I was being fed on. And so it was just one of those things. But I mean, prison matured me to, as I said, I always knew I did wrong, but I wasn't mature enough to stop myself from doing that wrong. And it wasn't a mental disability. It was more a willingness to turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
An easier way. Whereas if you think now, if somebody was asking me now, go back and do it again, or do it now, not go back. Because going back, I would say that I probably wouldn't change anything, knowing even what's going to happen to me, I wouldn't change.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what people don't know, I lost more than just 3 years of freedom.
Yeah.
I lost my family. I lost so much stuff in what happened.
Yeah.
But I still wouldn't change anything. But if somebody said, do it now, it's not worth it. I know I can make just as good money in many other places.
Yeah.
Because funny enough, I now help people erase their criminal records. I help people change their lives. And do I make as much? No. But I make a good living, a very good living. I'm not starving,
Mm-hmm.
I make a very good living. And it's a totally different world. And now I have bigger plans. I have bigger things in my life that are pushing me forward, and everything from my past is little pieces of the puzzle to help push me forward.
Yeah.
And people can look at me however they want. I honestly don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I ever cared about. You can't live your life worrying about other people. Everybody makes mistakes. Some people just prefer to point and say that they are mistakeless, sinless.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the hugest sinner. Sinners sin, right? Some big, some large. But it's hard to judge people. I'm not a big Bible believer, but some of the moral codes in the Bible I follow, like, you can't judge somebody if you are not sinless.
Of course.
Right? And I understand people were going to do that, but every little piece of what was before has built me to what I am today.
Do you have regrets from your childhood, like your upbringing?
No.
No.
No. Actually, you know what? My parents weren't the best. They did their best in the situation they were given. I don't blame them for anything.
You do?
I do not.
Oh, you do not.
But that situation, it gives you strength to survive situations that maybe nobody would be able to survive. Like if you took your situation now and said, okay, so I did that as a kid. If you tried that now as an adult, so much harder. A kid, you're like a sponge. You have so much ability to adapt and learn. You see adults lose their job, go out on the street and just totally die.
Yeah.
They don't survive.
Yeah.
They die.
Yeah.
Because they have no ability to adapt to that life. But you go and you see a kid and they survive. People don't give kids enough credit for the strength they have because they're pliable. They're able to change their entire being so much quicker than an adult to adjust and to, because if all that stuff happened to me today, I'd probably be like anybody else, you know, living on welfare and totally giving up.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know? So it's different. I'm glad it happened when it did. I'm happy it happened when I was a youth. You know, because if it happens to you and as an older age, it's very hard to overcome. It's hard to start over if you've never started over before when you're an adult. People give up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't have that in me anymore. I don't have give up in me. You know? Funny story, when I went to prison, the CO, because I'm white, right? It's funny, you know, racism is in reverse in prison. You know, a few things when you go to prison as a white person and middle-aged, you're automatically assumed that you're weak and you're going to commit suicide and you're scared, or you're a pedophile. It's a terrible thing, but that's the facts. So the guys asked me if I'm going to commit suicide. They kept asking me, you know, it's scary up there, trying to scare me. And it's just, it was such a weird situation in my life that for somebody to think that lowly of another human. But in the same token, I went back to the bullpen room and saw there was people that were not going to make it upstairs, that were going to lose their mind. You know, at the time I didn't know it was upstairs, but wherever we were going, I knew why he was asking those questions. There were people that were freaking out on the bus on the way in, you know. I'll never forget this kid, good-looking kid, young guy, and he'd been arrested for drugs. He lost his shit upstairs, crying and freaking out. Gotta let me out, you gotta let me out. I felt so bad for that guy, because even if you get a week, your week is going to be longer than my year.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of some of this stuff that goes on in there. And I was in a pretty bad place, MDC Brooklyn. If you ever want to Google search a bad place.
I did.
It's a nasty. Even Barack Obama said it was unfit for human habitation. 7 people get stabbed there a day.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous, dangerous, violent place full of gangs, full of cartels, and extreme violence. Like extreme violence. There's stuff I saw in there that no human being should see. That's not made for humans to see.
Wow.
One human should not do that to another human.
Wow.
That's crazy. Crazy. Interesting though. But I came out of that. And when I came out of that, a lot of people, I think, had just assumed that I'm down and out. That's it. You know, he went away. He deserves what he got. And that's the end of him. It's just the beginning of the story, though. That's the story that makes me who I am today. That makes everything more impressive today.
Yeah. Well, because you're right. Things. A lot of people would say, you know what? I made some mistakes and I'm done, and go punch the clock for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not me, though.
No.
I don't think I can conform or fit within that corporate world anymore. Like that.
Yeah.
I can be in the corporate world. I'm quite comfortable in that world. You know, I'm not intimidated by that world at all. But to put me into a situation where I'm punching a clock, if I'm going to fail at anything, that's what I'm going to fail at.
Yeah.
But that failure would drive me to say I need to be successful because I can't do that. It's not within me to do that anymore. You know, so yeah, everything's interesting.
It is. You you come out of prison, you do the pardon and waiver thing,
Yep.
and then I don't want to give it away because we can't talk about it, but you come up with an idea to disrupt an entire market.
I think it's going to change that industry that's going to be disrupted.
Completely legal, above board, 100%,
Absolutely.
but it's going to piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, in the process, it's going to be completely consumer driven. So the people who should matter,
Consumers.
I know they don't matter. We give them, or corporate America gives them, the false idea that you matter because that's what generates business, right? When their agenda is what the consumer's agenda should be. We're here to make money, right? Should be just as equally as important for the consumer to save money,
Yeah.
to get their end result as cheap as possible,
Yeah.
with the best type of service and the best type of product, whatever it is. And it doesn't always work out that way because we're sold a bill of goods by the corporations,
Yeah.
right? So this is something that needs to happen because it's been, especially in that world that it's going to be shaken. It hasn't been shaken in 100 years.
Right. And people have been getting fat and fat. The fat cats just keep on getting fatter.
I'm not even shy about it. They have YouTubes about how fat they are.
Yeah.
These real developers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're not going to be a liked guy.
That's okay. I'm not like that anyways. For the most part, people have this personification of me that I am this really bad dude.
But to show, people what kind of guy you are, you call me and tell me about the idea because you're super excited about it. And immediately.
That idea actually kind of stems from this. I was thinking of a name, a website to build for this, and I was thinking of an organization to build that website. And I happened to pass some things, and 1, 2, 3, add it all together.
Yeah.
It's
funny, eh?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It was just one of those things, like one of those moments where they say, and it really was like this. I was driving to get Timmy's, and it was like Tesla used to say, when he would come up with these inventions, he would see them in his dreams, like the schematics and everything. If you read about his story, he would see the plans.
Elon Musk?
No, Tesla.
Oh, the actual Tesla?
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
He would see the plans in his head, almost like somebody put them there.
Right.
Right. Same thing with Einstein. Einstein said all of his revelations came when he was subconscious, like in his subconscious. In
Alien segue.
Yeah, it's for sure alien segue. But it's what's that guru you and your wife like? Right. An old Chinese proverb. It's probably not. It's probably newer, but if you woke up every day and I gave you $86,400 in cash every day, but you had to spend it all, every penny of it, what would you do?
How would you spend it?
What would you do? Would you fight to spend every penny of it every day? Because it's going to be gone. You can't save none of it. $86,400 every day.
Not that much. It's $86,000. It's a car.
You get it every day, though.
Yeah.
What would you do? Spend every penny. You'd fight every tooth and nail. Oh my God, there's $10 left. Let's spend it.
Yep.
Why don't you do that with your time? It's how much time you have. You have 86,400 seconds a day.
Yeah.
And we humans have a bad habit of saying, save it. I'll do it tomorrow. Right? But the time's gone. You don't get that back.
It's the only commodity you will never get back.
Never. And, you know, time is a funny thing. I don't care about getting older. I really don't. I'm one of those people. Some people do. I just don't. Maybe it's because of the way I was raised, you know. There was a time in my life I didn't think I'd live past 30. I didn't think I was making the 3-0. Life was pretty hectic, you know. And this is before Thailand. You know, in my early 19s, my teeny years, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life. Not even just money, just the environment I was living in. It was very unhealthy, so much stuff going on, you know, that it wasn't a factor of me thinking I'm not going to survive. It was just, I don't think things are going to happen in my life where things could go terribly wrong and I'm not going to be alive.
Yeah.
But you live that life because you don't have a choice. You know, there's no mommy and daddy to run to when you're living that life. So there was a time in my life where I didn't think 3-0 was happening. And it was a real belief of mine that, you know, every year after the 20s, I'm like, wow, it's another good year.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of interesting things, but everything's to make you who you are today.
It's very true.
You know, your best degrees you'll ever have don't come from a university or anything. They come from your failures and how you get up from them.
Yeah.
Those are the degrees you need to hang on the wall and be very proud of.
Yeah.
Be very proud of. Because those are the
100%.
ones that are going to get you through the times you think you cannot get through.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, it's good. Everything's good. Life is really good. It's a good time to be alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. We're at an hour already.
Really? We burnt an hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's things that we didn't get to that we will get to on our next episode.
Yes.
So again, guys, if you enjoy this talk with...
It was an interesting one.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
With Colt and myself. Hit the subscribe button. You'd be doing us a big solid. And the like and the notification, that'd be great. And stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, peace out. Good show. Thanks for listening. And again, like and subscribe. It helps us go forward.
Absolutely.
And don't forget the notifications.
Stay tuned because we're going to keep you guys posted with this new idea.
It's fun. It'll be fun. It'll
Yeah.
be interesting. It'll be exciting. You'll grow with us.
Yeah.
It'll be
We
a
can't
journey.
tell you a lot right now. other
More will
than-
come
Yeah.
as
slowly.
we can.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's going to be cool.
We're also going to be looking at YouTube videos as well.
Yes.
And giving, talking about our YouTube video of the week.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
What was the name of that restaurant we went to tonight? Table for Two?
Table for Two Steakhouse. It was fantastic. I have to give it a shout out.
100%.
It was very good.
In Alliston, a Table for Two. We went there for steaks tonight and very good.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Me too. Tiny little place here in Alliston. I'd never been there. They've been around for a year and a half. And what was the guy's name? Was it Andrew?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Nice guy. Great place. Clean. Good food. All fresh. Nothing frozen.
Steak was fantastic.
It was so good.
Crispy on the outside, nice and tender on the inside. Oh, man.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be going back. So, yes, as Colt said, a shout out to A Table for Two. And that's it, guys.
Yeah, peace out.
Thank
Have a
you.
Good night.
Enjoy.